pardon the background noise. It is my furnace. I don't have my shirt on. I do have shorts on because I got it 74 degrees in here. I got a little teaser for you. I'm doing more research on my drive, my out drive for my John boat. I said I got the motor and I'm going to design my own out drive for it. It's going to be different. And it's going to be engineered to freaking last in harshest sand water conditions, put it that way, if you have an idea to run the river. Okay? And there's, different bearing seals, plastic, types of composite plastics with carbon fiber to design the shaft where sand and grass and water is going to get in there. It's not good on anything. It's not even good on any type of plastic, all right? Plain water is not good on 99% of plastic bearings. Like Delrin and stuff, they're not made to run in water at all. They're not made to be water lubricated. That's why they fail and stuff on a lot of drives that I've been looking at. And you have to have seals. And you can use seal bearings and then do a lip seals to keep grease in, and grease repels water. So you can keep the grease in and repel the water out, but dual lip seals are not really good at that, and they're a friction drive around the shaft that's spinning, and they're stationary, and there's always going to be a rub groove. If something gets in there, it's going to eat it up, okay? This is a teaser. I'm going to show you all this stuff. Where'd I leave my smoke? Oh, shit, I don't got one lit. I gotta fix that. I gotta filter my air through a cigarette so I don't get COVID, okay? Irritate the snowflakes. But yeah, anybody that knows, maintenance guys, mechanics, they don't even realize what kind of seals they're using on what they're fixing and what they came with or what. They just do the number, read the number off if they can find it. There's different single lip seal, dual lip seals. You got silicone seals. You got freaking polymer rubber seals. You got high temp seals. Yeah, blah blah blah. Man, that's a good cigarette. Holy, that's a joke. All right. That's what you ever look up and do seals, that rub against the shaft. Guess what? For what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to keep the water out no matter what of the shaft and the tail and, where it's going to be in water because it's going to have sand in it. And nobody even actually understands you got a lip seal, that do wheel bearings, people that do their own stuff. And then you got your dual lip seal. Anybody tell me how there's a way to say it. Labyrinth seal. A labyrinth seal actually has no contact with the shaft. There's this part of the seal that contacts the shaft is tight and sealed to the shaft, and then there's another contact area on the stationary part, but the two seals, I'm giving you hints already, they do not actually touch each other, but they're very, very, very highly efficient in keeping water, moisture, dust, sand, depending on the type of seal you're using, to keep stuff out. Most grease seals and lip seals are made to keep oil or grease in, but they're not made to keep anything that's maybe under a little pressure out. And, you can take a regular dual lip seal and put one the way it's supposed to go and then turn another one the other way. Boom, that's an old trick. there's some more tricks. That's how you keep from pounding dirt into farm equipment that need a dual lip seal. If you got enough room, you put two of them in. One will keep the dirt from getting pounded into it, and the other one will stop it from the grease and stuff coming out. But yeah, you got labyrinth seals. Those are pretty cool. They cost, they used to be 10 times more. If you're talking $5 for a seal, and if it costs $50 for a seal, which they've come down in price a lot. If you're talking, a $3 seal that's gonna take a dive and eat up your shaft in a year in sandy river water where I'm gonna be running, or you want to have a labyrinth seal for $25, and you're only gonna need one, maybe two, depending on your setup. I think I'd spend the money, and they'll last a hell of a lot longer. And then, sealed bearings. You have regular open, I'm talking deep groove ball bearings. Single roller balls. You got open where they're inside and the lubricant is pumped through Zerk, and there's no shielding on the outside whatsoever. And then you have shielded, which hold grease in a little bit, and they're usually kind of pre-lubricated, but they have pinholes around where if you hit them with a grease gun, it'll get into the rollers inside the bearing. And then you have sealed bearings, and the sealed bearings are only using a freaking lip seal, and they are not sealed. I'm going to show y'all a super neat trick that I just thought of years ago. I said I've been mechanicking and engineering and building stuff and fixing people's stuff, and I want to stay fixed. I'm going to show you a simple trick. All you need is an X-Acto knife and a file, and some, I like to use RTV high temp silicone. And how you take a so-called sealed bearing and seal it, because those are just lip seals running inside that bearing, and basically sand or chunk gets in or eats that lip up, and you're done. It chews up. Even if it's silicone, you take sandpaper to silicone, take some silicone sealant, and then let it dry overnight about that thick on a piece of wood or anything, and then take a piece of, say, 120 sand grit paper and sand it. See how long it holds up. It don't. Silicone does not like sand. But there is a trick. I'm going to show you a $5 trick. All you need is an X-Acto knife with a new blade and a little tiny hobby diving file, and you can make a sealed bearing, totally sealed, within, if you do it right, and it takes a little bit of time, but you can take a so-called sealed bearing and make it sealed down to 35, 40 microns. And that's without heat expansion. That's when it's cold. Silicone will expand. It has thermal expansion also. A $5 trick that will make so-called sealed bearings in really nasty, sand, dirty, moisture conditions. Make that sealed bearing last at least 4 or 5 times as long, because those rubber seals aren't even made. They rub on the shaft, and they're not made to take any sand. You cut a groove. Any sand granular groove is probably, just off the top of my head, a chunk of sand. Well, your oil filter in your vehicle is set up to catch anything larger than 40 microns. And a chunk of sand is about, so you got to figure a couple 100 microns, and that'll take a chunk out of silicone, and you got a 100 micron hole. I'm going to show you a neat trick to seal up so-called seal bearings where they're within, give or take, 40 microns, which is micromillimeters, okay? 40 micromillimeters, 40 thousandths of a millimeter. Not 40 thousandths of an inch, 40 thousandths of a millimeter. I can show you the neatest trick in the book. I said all you need is some, I like using the high temp gold RTV or the super good blue, I can't think of the number, that's not shiny, if you're not going to be around high heat. X-Acto knife and a hobby diamond flat file. I'll show you a trick when I'm working on my boat doing my stuff, because I'm going to be in the harshest sandy water environment you can ever find. Even if it's clear, once that prop is running over the bottom and stirring up, there's sand coming up and it's big chunks and it'll eat things away. So I'm going to have Librant seals and probably seal bearings on one side, or bronze-light bushings. Yeah, I got to check. But I'll still show you the trick, because I'll do that. I'm sure I'm going to have one bearing that's supposedly sealed in my setup, I know for sure. A deep groove V ball bearing single roller. Might be a double roller, I don't know. It depends on how heavy duty I want to make it. But yeah, I'll show you a super trick that works. This is from 30 years experience doing this stuff, and I said, well, yeah, even the seal bearings are taking a crap every year. Well, there's got to be a way to figure out how to make seal bearings last longer. And it wasn't because they were getting too hot or running out of grease, it's because they were getting an ingress of dirt or sand. In sandy conditions, the sand was getting pressured against it. If it's dragging on the ground on a head or something, and the sand's pushing, just eats through the frickin' so-called seal to the seal bearing. Yeah, because I'll show you. It's so cool, and anybody can say I'm full of crap, and I will show you, and then you all can try it, that have problems with sand ingression and stuff into seal bearings or greasable bearings that are shielded. I'm going to show you a simple trick to guarantee you they'll last it at least 2 times longer, okay? Anyhow, I was going to go dig a bearing out. I think I got a seal one, but shit, it's already 8:30 and I got to get to bed. I ain't had hardly 3-4 hours of sleep every night for the last couple of nights. Been busy working on stuff, and think I finally got stuff fixed. But yeah, it's cool. I'm going to show you some real tricks that frickin' work, okay? And not the YouTube. This is not on YouTube, all right? There's like how to shrink a bearing on YouTube, how to heat a bearing up, use an oven, use a fry pan, use a microwave, put it in the freezer. Wow. You know what specs it are to shrink a regular bearing, and if it's a sealed bearing or not, you can't heat it. If it's sealed and it has grease in it, you're only a certain temp. You're supposed to never go over any bearing or a bushing. Yeah, these idiots says, oh yeah, I heard this and they said, well, you did it and look. Depends on what you're working on, and you better know the specs and the designations and the heat temp that it's made to take of what you're using, what kind of load it's bearing, and if it's axial or radial and static or whatever. And just read the number off the bearing and throw another one in. They don't even know how a frickin' bearing or a seal work. I do. Yeah, it's just common knowledge to a frickin' genius like me with ADD. No, I'll show you. It's the coolest trick on the planet. You know, you're spending $50 for a frickin' sealed bearing, and every year going out, and you gotta replace it and tear out the whole shaft and shit and spend 4 hours to replace your so-called sealed bearings. I will guarantee I'll show you to make them last at least twice as long in real nasty environments for under $5 a bearing. You know, you could probably do 4-inch bearings, well, 10 of them for about, $8 for some silicone and an X-Acto knife and a file, maybe $10 of tools to do it. Because it's all engineering and physics. Kicks ass. All right, love you, man. I finally got my Kia Racer done. A $3 O-ring cost me another week and an hour and a half of farting around again. Yeah, and I've been driving my old beater pickup, but the roads are really crummy and snowy. Now it's got worn up. It's melting. It's muddy, but Kia's on the road tomorrow. Yeah, everything's designed to fail sooner or later. Like a big old tractor engine with the rear main seal. The rear main seal might cost $12, but you have to split the whole tractor or pull the frickin' whole thing apart to change a main seal between the engine and the transmission. So there's about, yeah, you split a tractor, even like a 4640 or something, there's $3,000 to change an $8 seal. $3,000 of labor, okay? They don't make money on selling the shit, and they make like 60% on parts. They make the money on the labor to fix it, because it's all made to fail. And what I'm going to design for my boat outdrive is going to be light, efficient, but I'm going to make mistakes. But this puppy, once I get it right, I should never have to touch it, maybe once every 10 years, unless I really bash into something really hard. and it'll just keep going and going and going, because I'm designing it not to fail. Because I got to do the work myself, and I got to pay the parts, and I'm going to be running it. So it makes sense if you're going to design something like they used to, like the old John Deere tractors, the A's, the B's. They were designed to last forever, and they're still going. A few minor little repairs, and they're going yet. You take all these brand new $300,000 tractors. You think they're going to be around in, let's see, 80 years? 70 years? And they're still going to be out in the field plugging away and working for a few $100s of repairs here and there? You can't even buy a freaking switch on a new tractor that should cost $4. That'll cost you at least $85 from the dealer. So there you go. All right, and God forbid you get a mouse in your wiring while you got it in your big old giant machine shed over winter, and they get in the wiring harness. That's a lot of fun. There's $30,000-$40,000 to replace that stuff just from a little mouse. So don't have a dog, have a bunch of cats that like to hunt mice if you're a farmer. And have a machine shed or any electronic controlled newer tractors. you get a mouse in that wiring, you're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to fix that mess. Okie doke, I'll be back. Hey, I'm doing it backwards here. Well, here, I'll do it backwards. I'm holding my phone. Peace, love, half a heart, have a heart. Is that you're not going to see this trick anywhere on the planet, and you're never going to see what I'm designing with my boat and my outdrive. There's never going to be another one. There's not one like it. I'm going to have the one alone. It's going to be perfect when I get it all the bugs worked out for what my specialty purpose is that I'm doing. Okay? It's going to take the worst beating I'm ever going to plan on it, and I don't care about swamp and mud. I'm dealing with sand. Water and sand do not go well with any kind of mechanical contrivances, okay? If I can do that, and it'll take a beating, I'll get it right. It'll last. And if I go from sand to a lake, where it's all nice and clean and no sand and stuff gets kicked up anywhere, I think it probably lasts 40, 50 freaking years if you're in clean water with no sand and granular stuff. I'm going to be running aggregate, chomping up everything in the water, trying to get sucked into the final drive. And that's not how they recommended, but that's why I got to build my own, because I've been looking and nobody builds one that's made for sand and water basically sandblast everything you got under high water pressure. I'm going to do it. I'm going to show it can be done. And it's actually going to be pretty when it's finished too. All right, man. Peace, love, have a heart. And I said, rack your brain. Don't just sit around and get bored if you're on lockdown or if you are working. Learn something new every day. Research stuff. Don't believe 99% of what you see on YouTube and about 98% of what you see on the internet. But you can find your correct specifications and stuff and do whatever and find something to make you happy. And like I said, just look around you instead of having tunnel vision. Look around like this. You'd be surprised at all the beauty that's all around you that you don't even notice. All right, love you all, man. I'll be back. I promise. Love you. And then tomorrow's a brand new day. Kick ass. I'll be back. Ciao.